which is set at the This, ladies and gentlemen, marks the formal inauguration of the celebrations of the 10 years of Investment Board of Nepal. We thank the Right Honorable Prime Minister for doing the honors. And ladies and gentlemen, we now take pleasure in presenting to you the logo of the 10 years of Investment Board. Logo, ladies and gentlemen, of the 10 years of Investment Board here in Nepal. And please be informed that we, in a bid to commemorate the IBN decade, we are beginning today. We will be unleashing a series of programs and events as we mark the entire year as the IBN decade celebrations year. And that is beginning today until September of next year, 2022. It will be a celebratory year to unleash a whole array of activities and events marking the systematic improvements and initiatives undertaken by the office to attract mega investments in the country. Now, in the last 10 years of its establishment, IBN, ladies and gentlemen, has delivered some good results, providing investment approvals and facilitating game-changer mega projects in various sectors under the PPP and private investment modality. However, there is much more to add to our accomplishments, for which let me take you now through a quick audiovisual reflecting upon these glorious 10 years of IBN. After being a federal democratic republic, Nepal was embarking on a path to prosperity. Nepal was gearing up for accelerating industrialization through private sector engagement for a major economic transformation. With the objective of being a central fast-track government agency to facilitate economic development by creating an investment-friendly environment, mobilizing and managing domestic as well as foreign investments, Investment Board Nepal was born. We started with big aspirations of prosperity, and within 3 years of our existence, we signed project development agreements for 2 mega energy projects worth over $2 billion of foreign investment in PPP modality. The largest foreign direct investment project, our own third hydropower, will alone generate 900 megawatts of electricity. Other energy projects in the pipeline will add more than 3,000 megawatts. We facilitated projects like China-Nepal Friendship Industrial Park and Venture Waste to Energy, setting benchmark in industrial and urban infrastructure development. Our private investment projects have also been single-handedly responsible in revolutionizing the cement industry in Nepal. Hongsi Shivam, the largest cement manufacturing plant, using state-of-the-art technology and making Nepal self-reliant in clinkers. Huashin Cement is set to start operations while other cement projects are in different stages of development. We set the trend of developing bankable documents, which is now followed by other agencies. So are our practices of implementing the international standard social safeguards. For the first time, we have developed a resettlement action plan, engaging the project beneficiaries, which has restored and improved their livelihoods. To harness investment opportunities and promote Nepal as a promising investment destination, IBN organized 2 investment summits, which were able to capture the attention of global business community. One agency, one idea of fast-track project development, promotion and implementation, one stop for all investment services, and one aspiration to realize the national vision of prosperous Nepal, happy Nepali. IBN, as the first reference point for investment in Nepal, aims at accelerating investment in transformative infrastructure projects across a variety of sectors. This year, we have reached 10 in 10 major sectors. With more than 10 projects progressing, we aspire to graduate into a developing nation within the next 10 years. Not just the country of highest peaks, but also the investment destination with competitive advantages and business prospects. Nepal can now take up your investment to a new height, and IBN is here by your side on your expedition to the summit. IBN wholeheartedly welcomes you to invest in Nepal. Today, better than tomorrow. We commit to you remarkable experiences of growth in your business. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was looking back at the glorious 10 years of IBN. And as we mark this momentous occasion today and prepare for a new, more vitalized road ahead, it is important to acknowledge and also hear from the key entities who have been an important part of this glorious decade of IBN as they share their reflections of the journey. The first speaker, ladies and gentlemen, will be joining us virtually, and this is our pleasure to be extending the warmest of welcome, at the same time requesting to share his remarks. Please welcome Mr. Huang Zhe Chen, the Regional Director for Infrastructure, World Bank.
Thank you. Hope you can. Honorable Prime Minister, honorable ministers, secretaries, esteemed members of the IBN board, distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor for me to represent the Wapp Group to make a few remarks at this inaugural ceremony of the 10 years of Investment Board of Nepal. My remark is going to focus on some idea on how we can gather more private sector investments in infrastructure in Nepal. Infrastructure is central to sustainable development, as we all know. Globally, we still face tremendous challenges. Many people lack electricity, 850 million people lack all-weather and safe roads, 800 million people lack access to clean water, and 4 billion people lack access to internet. Just before the COVID pandemic, the need for infrastructure investment in transport, in power, telecommunication, water supply and sanitation in the South Asia region was estimated by ADB at about $360 billion a year until 2030. Much of this investment is going to come from pretty bad echo need to come from the private sector in the region and globally. And in Nepal, there's no exception, as the increasing fiscal vulnerabilities and worsening fiscal deficit due to the revenue jobs and COVID-19 relief needs make it difficult further expansion of public investment into the infrastructure sector. Therefore, improving the public-private partnership enabling environment will be the key, and IBM has a critical role to play in mobilizing and managing both domestic and foreign investments. My Ferris is going to discuss further in the technical session in the afternoon. Since the COVID-19 pandemic struck, we have seen financing infrastructure is facing challenge in many fronts, from shifting of the spending by the government slowdown of investment by public utility and also hesitancy from the private investors. And as a result, infrastructure spending across the board took a backseat in 2020. In South Asia, the private sector invests $10 billion over 30 projects in 2020, which is the slowest number of projects in the last 10 years. And Nepal faced similar challenges. So now let me turn to some key policy actions that Nepal would need to take to boost private sector investment in the infrastructure sector in 3 key sectors. In the energy sector, Nepal has taken great strides in expanding the access and innovating load shedding in recent years through the private sector financing of independent power producers, as well as the interconnection with the power grid with India. To support further expansion of demand, cost-effective investment in the power generation, such as hydro, solar, wind by the private sector will be key. And we believe in creating a level playing field for all sectors by standardizing the role of IPP project will be an important step. Also, for public sector-led projects, we also need to create an enabling financing structure to crowd in private financings. Given hydropower in Nepal is highly seasonal, further power exchange with India will also be critical to improve the financial viability of large-scale hydropower projects. Growing Nepal's transmission network, both within and across the Indian border, will be critical. And here, regulatory, financial, and safeguard barrier to this investment could be removed. In the transport sector, the key policy reform will include increasing investment in regional connectivity and complementing them with trade facilitation measures, with particular focus on digitalization, automation of the processes, and cross-border infrastructures, expediting the implementation of WTO trade facilitation agreement, BBIN motor vehicle agreement, and custom reforms. And we could also adopt a better contracting structure that incentivizes efficiency improvement, such as clubbing the construction and O&M contracts and linking payment to outcomes, which will also create incentive for private sector invest in the transport sector. In the digital sector, the key policy reform to enhance the engagement of private sector could include strengthening the regulatory framework to improve access, affordability, and the quality of the broadband services, reducing barrier to entry, and coordinating the construction and sharing of existing infrastructure, such as ducts, poles, and fiber optic cables. Overall, it is important for the government to provide a clear and credible message, granted in a transparent, predictable, and efficient enabling environment. And that's the infrastructure sector open for business with private sectors, particularly in the post-pandemic time, where we expect the rebound of private sector investment in the infrastructure. The government of Nepal and IBM are well aware of these challenges, with many of their priorities already set out in IBM's 2021-2026 strategic plan. And the challenge is always on the implementation of all these plans. And the World Bank Group stand ready to support your effort in the very way we can. Thank you very much for this opportunity, my Honourable Minister and distinguished guests. I wish you a very success. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your very, very valued remarks. As we seek pardon for the technical glitches, we shall try to curb it as far as possible. And saying that, we move forward with our next speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is the President of WAPPP and will also be joining us virtually. We request Mr. Ziad Alexander Hayek, the President of Wapp, for his remarks.
Thank you. Right Honorable Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Duba, Honorable Ministers, members of the Investment Board of Nepal, Mr. Sushil Bhatta, CEO of IBM, ladies and gentlemen, I am truly delighted to be with you today to celebrate the 10th anniversary of IBM's establishment. Nepal's economy experienced high growth rates, which will undoubtedly resume post-COVID crisis. Sustaining such high growth rates requires a massive investment in infrastructure. Given the heavy burden on government finances, it is normal that financing such infrastructure leaves a funding gap that the private sector would be called on to fill. But since investors, especially large international investors, with the capital base and the technological know-how to undertake major projects, have many options for where to invest their money around the world, it becomes necessary to make sure that investment climate in Nepal is attractive to private capital and that project investment priorities are clearly set. I am glad to know that Nepal has been doing extremely well on the first front. You have been constantly improving on your legislative framework, starting with laws for BOT a few years ago, and then PPP structures, and ending finally with the PPP policy of 2019. Nepal has today trade agreements, commercial treaties, financial and fiscal incentives, and investor-friendly laws, which have facilitated the investment process. Thanks to the work of IBN, Nepal has also developed an impressive pipeline of projects. First among them are hydropower generation projects. Nepal has a distinctive competitive advantage in this sector, of course, which will not only certainly become a major export earner for the country, but also provide inexpensive and, if managed well, an eco-friendly undertaking that reduces substantially the region's reliance on fossil fuels. The pipeline doesn't end there. IBN also has projects in the sectors of cement, waste to energy, industrial parks, and integrated agriculture, among others. I wish to stop briefly on the subject of agriculture and say that this sector is oftentimes forgotten in many governments' investment strategy. So I was delighted to note that this is not the case in Nepal, especially that PPP can play a major role in this regard. Prioritization, which is the second condition, is never more important than now, with the ravages of COVID on both society and the economy in Nepal and elsewhere. Even with its excellent setup, refined over many years, as I mentioned before, attracting investors, both in the current COVID climate and in its wake, when the demands on infrastructure investing resurface all over the world, and we're seeing this, happening in the US and other places. So this will attracting investors in this climate will continue to be tricky. Privatization or prioritization, I apologize, prioritization therefore is key. In the meantime, I note that Nepal has had an extremely successful track record in implementing small, perhaps village-scale, water supply and sanitation infrastructure projects, usually at the hand of NGOs. The most distinctive aspect of this success, perhaps, is the reach out to stakeholders and getting community support. There is much to learn from that for all of us in the PPP field. And we should not forget that the public sector's partners in PPP need not always be for-profit companies. They can well be non-profit organizations. Indeed, we at Wapp, the World Association of PPP Units and Professionals, are big advocates of stakeholder engagement in what is referred to as People First PPP. PPPs that not only look at the value for money dimension, but also at the social and environmental impact I mentioned. I mention this to say that while work is underway to undertake the major infrastructure projects and attract international investors, there remain many opportunities to take a serious look at in the small and medium-sized PPP projects, which can be financed with local and regional capital. Here, renewable energy such as solar energy, for example, and many other community-sized projects come to mind. In the same way that COVID has given us all the time to stop and examine our lives and priorities, it can also be an opportunity to stop and look at what else to prioritize that we had not prioritized before. I am happy to see that IBN is engaged in doing that. Finally, I'd like to say that Wapp is delighted to welcome IBN into the fold of its membership, to integrate it with its global network, and to work closely with it to help it achieve its objectives. To close, on behalf of Wapp, I extend our sincere congratulations to IBN, congratulations to its board leadership, congratulations to its management and staff, congratulations to Nepal. Thank you.
Thank you indeed for your very optimistic and insightful remarks. So that, ladies and gentlemen, we move ahead, and now on the behalf of Mr. Zhang Xiaohua, the chairman of Hong Kong Red Line Number 3 Company Limited, who could not participate in the program due to travel restrictions, I kindly invite Mr. Liu Shuguang, the MD of Hongxi Shivam Cement Limited, to deliver the message from Mr. Zhang.
尊敬的谢尔巴哈德乌帕总理，尊敬的财政部长贾拉尔丹夏尔马以及尼泊尔投资委苏夏巴塔先生。
To the Right Honourable Prime Minister, Mr. Sher Bahadur Deuba, Honourable Finance Minister, Mr. Janardhan Sharma, and CEO of Investment Board of Nepal, Mr. Sushil Bhatta.
新闻尼泊尔投资委员会成立10周年，您以此信表示真挚的祝贺，向投资委对红丝希望项目的关心和支持表示衷心的感谢。
2021 witnesses the 10th anniversary of the Investment Board Nepal. I hereby extend my sincere congratulations through this letter. We fully appreciate the care and support received from IBN for the Hongxi Shivam Cement project.
我曾于2013年到尼泊尔考察学习，尼泊尔优秀的自然风景和悠久的历史文化给我留下了深刻印象。更为可贵的是，近些年来，尼泊尔各项事业快速发展，人民生活水平不断提升，经济社会发展取得了令人瞩目的巨大成就。尼泊尔投资委员会作为以总理为主席的高级别专业机构，在吸引国外投资、促进大型项目落地、加快尼泊尔经济发展方面发挥了重要作用。
I have been to Nepal in 2013 for investigation and study. The charming and graceful natural scenery and time-honored histories and cultures of Nepal impressed me profoundly. The rapid progress made on various undertakings in Nepal in recent years is more commendable. People's living standard reaches to a new height, and remarkable achievements have been acquired in the social and economic development. Chaired by the Prime Minister, IBN as a high-grade professional organ is crucial in attracting domestic and foreign investment, carrying out large-scale projects and boosting the economic development of Nepal.
尼泊尔红丝希望水利有限公司是中国红丝控股集团和尼泊尔希望控股集团共同投资建设的合资企业，总投资3.5亿美金。从项目开始至今，投资委在政府前面积极协调，多次组织 REFCC 会议，为项目顺利建设及投产运营提供了最有力的支持。
Hongxi Shivam Cement Private Limited is a joint venture co-funded by Hongxi Holding Group in China and Shivam Holding Group in Nepal, with total investment of $350 million. Since the initiation of the project, it has received positive coordination from IBN. Multiple investment facilitation and coordination committee meetings were initiated and organized to facilitate our project that guaranteed the smooth construction, production and operation of the project.
我们非常看好尼泊尔的投资环境和发展前景，也非常愿意在尼泊尔寻找更多投资项目。目前，红丝希望2期项目及红丝控股集团和尼泊尔 SH 投资有限公司合资的尼泊尔西部单项目，已在有序推进前期合法化工作。希望投资委一如既往地对新项目给予支持和帮助。
We think highly of Nepal's investment environment and development prospects and are willing to look for more investment projects in Nepal. At present, the second phase of Hongxi Shivam and the Dang Cement project in western Nepal, jointly invested by Hongxi Holding Group and Nepal SH Investment Private Limited, have been advancing the early legalization work in an orderly manner. We hope that IBN will continue to support and help the new project as always.
再次感谢尼泊尔投资委，红丝集团将与尼泊尔人民共同携手，为尼泊尔的发展做出更大的贡献。
Thanks again to the Investment Board Nepal. Hongxi Group would like to make greater contributions to the development of Nepal together with the Nepali people.
最后，祝愿本次庆典圆满成功，祝愿谢尔巴哈杜尔德乌帕总理、财政部长以及苏谢尔巴塔先生及各位嘉宾身体健康，工作顺利。
Finally, I wish this inaugural ceremony a complete success and wish Right Honorable Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deuba, Honorable Finance Minister and Mr. Sushil Bhatta and all the guests good health and success.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for your kind greetings, the warm greetings and the very encouraging words that you bring along. And ladies and gentlemen, may I now invite Mr. N.L. Sharma, the CMD from CMD SJVN Limited, for his remarks.
A very good morning and namaste to all of you. Honorable Chief Guest of the occasion, respected Right Honorable Prime Minister and Chairperson of the Investment Board of Nepal, Shri Sher Bahadur Deuba ji, special guests Shri Janardhan Sharma ji Prabhakar, Honorable Finance Minister and Vice Chairman of the IBN, Honorable Madam Pampa Bhushal, Honorable Energy Minister of Nepal, His Excellencies present in the hall, Shri Sushil Bhatta ji, CEO of Investment Board of Nepal, all the international speakers, ladies and gentlemen, I extend my congratulations to the Investment Board of Nepal on the completion of 10 years of his journey since 2011. On behalf of our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, Honorable Finance Minister of India Madam Nirmala Sitharaman ji, and Honorable Power Minister of India Shri R.K. Singh ji, I also extend greetings and congratulations to the Investment Board of Nepal on the completion of its 10 years. Prime Minister Sir, I sincerely appreciate and feel honored by the kind invitation of IBN to deliver this special remark on the inaugural ceremony of 10 years of completion of IBN. First of all, I would like to convey that the entire SJVN family, representing India, the SJVN, are popularly known as Satluj or Arun Tesro in Nepal. A great pride of saying that SJVN is a key partner and trusted investor in socio-economic development of great nation of Nepal. SJVN is executing one of the IBN's transformative public-private partnership project, the 900 megawatt Arun 3 hydroelectric project. This project is progressing well towards its accelerated completion during the financial year 23-24. Though its scheduled commissioning is February 25, and my team has prepared the accelerated plan to complete the project by 23-24, thereby giving additional benefits to the people of Nepal, brothers and sisters of Nepal. And I assure that the recently awarded downstream Lower Arun project to the SJVN also, the indicated capacity of 679 megawatt, will also be commissioned in a fastest possible manner in the history of hydropower development. On the occasion of signing of MOU in the month of July 2021, I have assured that given the time-bound clearances by the authorities of Government of Nepal, The SJVN will try to complete this project from concept to commissioning in a period of 5 to 6 years instead of 15 to 20 years. So, commissioning the hydroelectric project from concept to commissioning in a period of 5 to 6 years will be a history in the development of hydro sector in the world. The timely completion of these two projects will provide financial benefit of NPR about 50,000 crores over a period of 25 years in the form of free power and other benefits to the Nepal. When IBN is commemorating 10 years of its existence, it gives me great pleasure to say that IBN has played a wonderful role and acted like a strong bridge between us, SJVN, that is India, and the government of Nepal for carrying on the construction activities of Arun 3 project so that project can be commissioned ahead of scheduled date. I would also like to add that IBN has proved its creation absolutely right as a high-level institution under the chairmanship of Right Honorable Prime Minister of Nepal to attract foreign direct investment and fast-tracking the mega projects like Arun 3 and other projects. While going through the achievements of IBN in bringing foreign direct investment to Nepal, I am happy to know that SJVN stands tall amongst all. I assure you that our investments will further increase when the construction activities of Lower Arun project start. FDI of around 11,000 crore NPR in Arun 3 and more than 6,000 crore NPR in Lower Arun will usher a new era of development in the growth of Nepal. I would like to take this opportunity to reiterate the fact that while India has harnessed about 50,000 megawatt capacity of hydro potential in India, the total viable hydro potential in Nepal is more than 40,000 megawatt. And so far, only around 1,500 megawatt capacity has been harnessed, developed. And still, more than 40,000 megawatt hydro potential is yet to be tapped in Nepal. And I am sure that if all this balance 40,000 megawatt capacity is harnessed, Nepal will be the powerhouse of hydropower in the region. I would request the Honorable Prime Minister to consider integrated river valley development, as I have been emphasizing on various platforms, and one basin, one developer approach for expediting the development of hydropower in Nepal. This approach has various inherent advantages. It is the experience across the globe, like scientific as well as commercial harnessing of the power. It would be easier to plan evacuation and transmission infrastructure. Then it would also help in optimum utilization of the manpower, comprehensive environment management and sharing of infrastructure. There would be increased generation of electricity by regulated release during the lean period, and increase in the peaking capacity of downstream projects in cascade. So the concept of integrated river basin development and one developer, one basin approach, there are so many advantages. This would not only result in faster development of the hydro projects, but would also lower the economic and environmental costs per unit of energy generated. If we look at the basin-wise potential of 5 major river basins of Nepal, the potential identified is more than 40,000 megawatt. The per capita income of Nepal as on date is approximately 1,35,000 NPR. And if we harness all the hydropower capacity in Nepal, the per capita income of Nepal will be doubled by way of developing only hydroelectric projects in the Nepal. I can just imagine the development and growth it would usher in the Nepalese economy and cascading effect it would have on other sectors like construction and infrastructure, roads and communication. Sir, we are developing 2 mega hydropower projects in eastern part of Nepal, and we would also like to be a partner in the development of hydropower projects in other parts of the Nepal. And I would also like to add that we are open to mutually beneficial partnership with other entities in Nepal like NEA or the other private players as well. SGVN has a track record of constructing mega projects in difficult Himalayan geology, and I assure the government of Nepal and all the stakeholders that we will not fail you. I have listed 5 suggestions for attracting more FDI investment in Nepal. First is the improvement in the road and infrastructure facilities to the developers. Second, simplification of the procedures for the induction of machinery, equipment, material and manpower from across the borders. We need to simplify the procedures to avoid the delays. Third suggestion is strengthening of the financial and banking institutions of the country to have more participation in the development of the nation. The local financial and banking institutions should be involved in financing the FDI projects, these projects also, so that they also feel confident in the development of the nation. Fourth suggestion is increasing the ease of doing business to attract FDI. The last but not the least, the fifth point is simplification of the procedure for acquisition of the land which is required for such mega projects, which is taking time, which is and that is our experience also. So if on this point action is taken, the FDI will be attracted in a good manner. At the end, I would like to thank the government of Nepal and Honorable Prime Minister for their continuous support. I would also like to thank the Investment Board of Nepal for providing me this opportunity to address the August gathering. I am very thankful to the Honorable Finance Minister and the Energy Minister of Government of Nepal, Government of India, Indian Embassy, other ministries of Government of Nepal and locals residing in and around project area for extending their cooperation and support from time to time. Again, congratulations and greetings from SGVN and the Government of India on the completion of 10 years of IBN. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you indeed for your greetings, your consistent support, and certainly today for shedding light on the prospects despite all the challenges that we all have. We move forward now, ladies and gentlemen, and it's my pleasure to invite Her Excellency Ms. Nicola Pollitt, the Ambassador of the UK to Nepal, for her remarks.
Thank you very much. Right Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable Ministers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, namaskar, good morning. I'd like to extend my thanks and congratulations to the Right Honourable Prime Minister and Chairperson of the Investment Board Nepal, and to the Chief Executive Officer of IBN for hosting this inaugural session of the 10-year anniversary of the establishment of the Investment Board Nepal. I'm delighted to see the support for this event across government, the private sector, development partners and embassies, which highlights, I think, the importance of the work of the Investment Board. Thank you for the invitation to speak. This is a time to celebrate the accomplishments of the past 10 years, as well as focus on consolidating IBN as the key fast-track agency and facilitator of private investments and public-private partnerships in Nepal. I would also like to congratulate Mr. Sushil Bhatta for completing 1 year of his tenure as CEO and for leading a number of important initiatives that have strengthened IBN. In particular, the strategic plan and business plan which set out the 5-year vision for IBN. These plans reflect his ambition and commitment to continue to strengthen the Investment Board. This work has been achieved in spite of the challenges brought by the pandemic, which have threatened to reverse development in Nepal and put its lower middle income status at risk. It's critical that measures are taken now to kickstart a green, resilient and inclusive recovery by raising investment to create jobs that support Nepal's sustainable growth. This has been termed the grid approach. Why green? Well, renewable energy, including solar and hydro, are now the most cost-effective energy sources for Nepal. The investment needs here continue to be large, with over $2 billion needed each year in the clean energy sector to meet rising demand, earn revenue from exports, and reduce Nepal's emissions. Mobilising the investment needed to develop 40,000 megawatts of renewable energy potential over the next 25 years will be critical to power Nepal's future growth. Why resilient? We must also ensure that investments are resilient to climate and earthquake shocks. The recent damage to the newly completed Melamchi water scheme serves as a stark example of the need to invest in resilience to reduce the climate losses that cost Nepal 1 to 2% of GDP every year. Why inclusive? IBN has a critical role in mobilising investment in national-scale infrastructure that can benefit everyone. In particular, a focus on inclusive urban infrastructure will ensure that Nepal's rapidly growing cities become the engines of Nepal's growth for all, without becoming highly polluted or increasing emissions or vulnerability. That's why the UK has been a proud partner of the Office of the Investment Board of Nepal since its establishment in 2011, and why we continue to provide support through our Accelerating Investment and Infrastructure in Nepal programme. In addition, through the UK's Department for International Trade and CDC, our development finance institution, we will also continue to support UK investment and expertise to accelerate Nepal's development. The achievements over IBN's first 10-year period are impressive. The Arun 3 hydropower brought the largest FDI deal in Nepal's history. IBN has contributed to wider clean energy development in Nepal through advancing solar and hydropower projects, as well as electric transport and smart cities. It has leveraged $2 billion in investment, with much more in the project pipeline. Biennial investment summits have succeeded in raising the profile of IBN and in boosting the pipeline of investments, with a Green Investment Summit planned for next year. Procedures have been streamlined to fast-track service for investors, and IBN continues to progress projects, promote investment and build partnerships, despite the challenges of COVID, the economic downturn and the climate crisis. As you're all no doubt aware, in November this year, the UK is hosting the UN's Climate Change Conference, COP26, to tackle the last of these challenges. Nepal's leadership on climate has already been recognised globally. Your innovative approaches to building local resilience and forestry, alongside clean energy development to keep emissions low. Recent analysis shows that Nepal can do even more to reduce loss and damage and become a carbon negative nation. For example, through energy trade and replacing biomass and coal with clean energy for people and industry. We recognise that Nepal needs additional investment to achieve these ambitious targets. That's why Nepal's development partners, including the UK, are mobilising up to $4.2 billion of new investment for Nepal's green, resilient and inclusive development. But that will not be enough. IBN will play a central role in raising additional private finance to support Nepal's post-COVID-19 recovery and sustainable growth to secure middle-income status. We are hoping to showcase this work at COP26 with you. I believe that by building on the strengths of the past 10 years, IBN will continue to secure key investments for Nepal that will transform the Nepali economy, lift Nepalis out of poverty, and be an example of low-carbon, climate-resilient development. The UK looks forward to another 10 years of successful partnership to build the green, resilient and inclusive Nepal we all want to see. Thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your greetings and for your long-running cooperation, support to Nepal and the Nepali people. We indeed value our partners and the trusted investors, and ladies and gentlemen, the insights and the inputs that we garnered at this forum certainly will be extended and elaborately delved into during the two technical sessions that would again look into the future prospects that is scheduled for later in the afternoon. For now, we thank all the esteemed speakers who took out the time to share with us their valuable inputs during this inaugural moments of the IBN Decade celebration. We now move on to some very, very important formalities that we slated for this inaugural ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall now witness the launch of some key documents. And may I now, together with all of you, request the Right Honourable Prime Minister to do the honours. Ladies and gentlemen, the documents will be presented to the Right Honourable Prime Minister by the IBN CEO, Mr. Sushil Bhatta, for the formal launch. First, the launch of IBN strategic plan that we are calling a roadmap. The strategic plan, ladies and gentlemen, comes along with the business plan, charting out clear, actionable items to attain the set goals. We are pleased to share that this is the maiden strategic plan of the investment board. The dossier is drafted entirely in-house with extensive rounds of consultations with experts, development partners, and the private sector. We're confident that this guiding document has set a clear direction for IBN for the years to come. Next, ladies and gentlemen, is the Nepal Investment Guide 2021, which provides an overview of the investment landscape in Nepal. Created to guide investors better in making an investment decision, This dossier contains information on the processes, laws and regulations and major opportunities in Nepal. And finally, the coffee table book, ladies and gentlemen. We are more than elated to have the launch of IBN's very own coffee table book, which captures the 10-year-long legacy of IBN in a picturesque story. Created with more than 100 photos, this book takes you on a walk down the memory lane, portraying the milestones, accomplishments and workings in a single product. Thank you, Right Honorable Prime Minister. I would want to hold ladies and gentlemen, as our theme, as you can see there on all the displays around, it says partnering for economic prosperity. And as this goes, support from all has been fundamental in where we stand today. We now take a moment to extend our gratitude and appreciation to our trusted investors, development partners, and other dignitaries who have played an important role in helping IBN attain its goals and objectives. I again turn back to our chief guest, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, who's also the chairman of the Investment Board of Nepal, and invite him back one more time along with the honorable ministers, the CEO of IBN, as we at this forum extend our felicitation to our esteemed investors and trusted partners. First and foremost, I'd like to call upon Mr. Nand Lal Sharma, the Chairman and Managing Director. The Chairman and Managing Director of SJVN Limited India, the parent company of SJVN Arun Third Power Development Company, that is constructing the 900 megawatt export-oriented Arun 3 Hydropower, the largest hydro project in Nepal, set to finish construction within a few years. May I now call upon Mr. Vishwanath Goel, the Vice Chairman, and Mr. Liu Shuguang, the Managing Director of Hongshi Shivam Cement Private Limited, to receive the felicitation for Hongshi Shivam Cement Private Limited, which is a joint venture between Hong Kong Red Lion and Shivam Holding Private Limited. The 12,000 tons per day Hongshi Shivam, ladies and gentlemen, is the largest cement manufacturing plant in Nepal. I'd now like to call upon Mr. Shang Hong, the CEO, and Mr. Suraj Vaidya, the President of Vaidya Investment, to receive the felicitation for Huashin Cement Narayani Private Limited. Huashin Cement, ladies and gentlemen, has a total investment of $140 million and has a capacity to produce 3,000 tons per day. The private investment agreement for the project was signed in 2018 and it is set to complete its construction by the end of this year. May I now call upon Mr. Anil Kumar Rungta, the Chairman, Samrat Cement Company Private Limited, to receive the felicitation for Samrat Cement Company Private Limited. The project was already in operation, producing 3,000 TPD in Dang district, and has already commenced production to enhance its production capacity to 4,500 tons per day after receiving investment approval from IBN in 2020. May I now call upon Mr. Nathaniel Bivan, the Head of Development at FCDO, receiving on the behalf of the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office of the British government, which has been, this office, ladies and gentlemen, has been the longest standing partner of the office.
जीवन बीमा गरौं, निश्चिन्त बनाऊ, अधिकतम प्रतिफल र सुरक्षा पनि। नेपाल सरकारको स्वामित्व रहेको राष्ट्रिय बीमा संस्थान जीवन बीमा गर्ने अब तपाईको पालो।
For Maldives, Nepal and Sri Lanka of the World Bank, who will be receiving the felicitation on behalf of the World Bank. The World Bank, ladies and gentlemen, has been contributing to the economic development of Nepal and has been partnering with the Office of the Investment Board of Nepal in multiple fronts. My pleasure of inviting Mr. Jason Swish, Director, USAID Nepal, receiving on behalf of USAID. USAID Nepal has been providing support to the Office of the Investment Board of Nepal in the development of energy sector. say, ladies and gentlemen, it's important to reflect on the past should you aspire success in the future. We now take a moment to extend the former CEOs as we honor and appreciate them for the great leadership and the legacy that they have left behind. My pleasure of inviting Mr. Radhesh Pant, the former CEO, IBN. During his tenure, 2 project development agreements were signed with a cumulative investment of $3 billion. Currently, he is the chairman and senior managing partner at VRock and Company Private Limited, a Nepal-based consulting and advisory firm. May I now invite Mr. Mahaprasad Adhikari, former CEO IBN, who served as the CEO of Investment Board of Nepal from 2016 to 2020. During his tenure, 2 project investment agreements were signed with a cumulative investment of $500 million. He also successfully led 2 mega Nepal investment summits and currently is serving as the governor of Nepal Rashtra Bank. Thank you, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, and thank you to all our investors, our partners, and the great leadership that we have had in the 10 years journey thus far. We would also like to take a moment, ladies and gentlemen, to acknowledge the banks and financial institutions who supported the projects, the undertakings under the IBN. And we could not felicitate these entities owing to the COVID restrictions, but we'll soon reach out to the esteemed organizations. And this marks the end of the felicitation part of the program. Ladies and gentlemen, we mark the 10-year milestone today. As we look forward, there is a need to reconsider and re-strategize our vision and mission to meet the goals we have set for ourselves under the mandate to help establish Nepal as an attractive destination for investment. In this context, we are more than eager to hear from our distinguished dignitaries on the dais. First and foremost, may I call upon our special guest, Honorable Minister for Energy, also the member of the Investment Board of Nepal, Ms. Bampa Bhutal, for her remarks.
Right Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Minister for Finance, Chief Secretary, Secretaries, CEO of Investment Board, distinguished guests here and online, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I take this opportunity to congratulate Investment Board of Nepal IBN on the special occasion of the board 10th year celebration. I feel very much honored to be a part of this big celebration. As we all know that energy is the key to our socio-economic prosperity. The government has highly prioritized its development. We have at least 42,000 megawatt commercially viable energy potential, but the current installed capacity is stand at approximately 1,383 megawatt. We have not been able to adequately exploit this energy potential, though the government has announced to generate at least 10,000 megawatt energy by 2030. Ladies and gentlemen, Nepal's energy sector is rich for both large-scale and innovative small-scale hydropower projects. Currently, the nation's major focus lies on the hydropower sector, where the government of Nepal intends to produce 3,000 megawatts, 5,000 megawatts, and 15,000 megawatt hydroelectricity within the next 3, 5, and 10 years, respectively. Through public and private investment in small, medium, and large hydroelectricity projects, the government has set a large to increase per capita hydroelectricity projects The government has set a large to increase per capita electricity consumption up to 700 kilowatt within the next 5 years period and 15,000 kilowatt within the next 10 years by transforming consumption and distribution patterns and minimize the need for fossil fuels. The government of Nepal envisions to develop one mega hydro solar project in each province with the slogan "One province, one mega project." Further, it intends to generate at least 2,000 megawatt from solar by developing the system required in the range of 100 to 500 kilowatt in the entire 75 local government units. Transmission infrastructure is the most essential infrastructure for the development of electricity sector. Nepal's most transmission network runs on 132 kV and it needs major upgrading. With increased the installed power and load demands, new lines up to 220 kV and 400 kV have been introduced. The transmission system master plan prepared by Nepal Electricity Authority is a comprehensive transmission system development plan for the period of 2015 to 2035. It presents the clustering of different hydropower and evacuate power along the river corridor in an optimal and efficient way and presents a reliable network for the purpose of exporting power to India and other countries. In 2018, Rashtriya Prasaran Grid Company of the other unveiled the Transmission System Development Plan, TSDP, which aims to develop 6,867 kilometers long transmission line across Nepal along the east-west and middle highway and along the major river corridors, sparing north-south. Such massive networks are going to significantly increase Nepal's energy sector. Ladies and gentlemen, with these plans at hand, the government alone cannot fulfill this goal, and we need to partner with private sector for realizing the energy potentials. IBN being the nodal agency for garnering investment in large hydroelectric and other energy projects under public-private partnership modality. I strongly believe that IBN has already built its credential by efficiently facilitating mega hydroelectric projects. I believe that IBN will continue achieving success by mobilizing private investment to complement countries' infrastructure development targets. Lastly, I would like to congratulate IBN for the remarkable achievement and my best wishes for the future endeavors. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Minister, for your very valued remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure and a privilege now to request our special guest, Honourable Finance Minister, also the Vice Chairman of the Investment Board of Nepal, Mr. Janardhan Sharma, for his remarks.
सम्माननीय प्रधानमन्त्री, माननीय मन्त्रीज्यू, मुख्य योजनाका उपाध्यक्षज्यू, मुख्य सचिव लगायत सचिवज्यूहरू, विकास साझेदार, लगानीकर्ता, सबै क्षेत्रका नेतृत्वदायी महानुभावहरू, लगानी बोर्ड नेपालको स्थापना भएको 10औं वर्ष पुगेको छ। यो अवसरमा म लगानी बोर्डको सिओ लगायत सम्पूर्ण महानुभावहरूलाई, परिवारलाई हार्दिक बधाई तथा धन्यवाद ज्ञापन गर्न चाहन्छु। लगानी बोर्डले आफ्नो स्थापनाको 10 वर्ष पूरा गरेको छ। आर्थिक समृद्धिको लागि ठुला लगानीकर्ताहरूलाई भित्र्याउने एक संस्थागत प्रयास र आधार तयार भएको छ। मान्छेको उमेरको दृष्टिकोणले हेर्यो भने 10 वर्ष सामान्य कुरा हो, बाल्यकाल जस्तो हो। लगानीको दृष्टिकोणले हेर्यो भने 10 वर्ष एउटा युग परिवर्तन गर्ने समय पनि हो। यहाँसम्म आइपुग्दा हामीले केही महत्त्वपूर्ण लगानीहरू सहित केही आधारहरू तयार भएको कुरा पाउँछौँ। तर अबको 10 वर्षभित्र हाम्रा अपेक्षाहरूलाई पूरा गर्ने स्तरको लगानी गर्न आवश्यक छ भन्ने मलाई लागेको छ। केही वर्ष अघि सार्वजनिक निजी साझेदारी लगानी ऐन नेपाल सरकारले तयार गरेको छ। आइबिएन को काँधमा यसले पनि अझ एउटा जिम्मेवारी र सहजता उत्पन्न गरेको छ। हामी के भन्छौँ होइन के गर्छौँ भन्ने कुरा महत्त्वपूर्ण हो। हामी लगानीको वातावरण बनाइरहेका छौँ। अघि भर्खरै केही कुराहरू यहाँ उठेका छन्। हामी यसलाई सहजीकरण कसरी गर्छौँ, लगानीको लागि सहज वातावरण हामी कसरी बनाउँछौँ, हाम्रा केही समस्याहरू लगानीकर्ताहरूले उठाउनु भएका विषयहरूलाई हामी सम्बोधन गर्छौँ कि गर्दैनौँ, त्यो हामीले पक्कै पनि गर्नुपर्छ। त्यसलाई सरलीकृत गर्न हाम्रा ऐन नियमहरू बनेका छन्। म यो कुरा पनि आश्वस्त पार्न चाहन्छु, विश्वस्त पार्न चाहन्छु। ऐन नियमहरू बनेका छन्, व्यवहारमा त्यसलाई सहजीकरण गर्न आवश्यक छ। त्यसमा पर्याप्त ध्यान जानेछ। समृद्धिका लागि नेपाली जनताको ठुलो आकांक्षा छ र लगानीकर्ताको पनि एउटा महत्त्वपूर्ण लगानीप्रतिको आकर्षण बढेको छ। फेरि पनि हाम्रो पर्याप्त लगानी भइ नसकेको सन्दर्भमा हामीले समीक्षासहित लगानीको एउटा वातावरण हामीले बनाउनुपर्छ। लगानी बोर्ड नेपाल जो छ यो लगानीलाई भित्र्याउने एउटा ढोका हो। यो ढोकाबाट प्रवेश गर्दै गर्दा लगानीकर्ताले प्रवेश गर्दै गर्दा हामीले एउटा विश्वास दिलाउन सक्नुपर्छ, आश्वस्त पार्न सक्नुपर्छ, त्यो वातावरण दिन सक्नुपर्छ। त्यसमा हाम्रो प्रयास जारी रहनेछ। हाम्रो स्रोत र साधनको प्रचुरता हुँदाहुँदै जनताको विकास आकांक्षासँग यसलाई हामीले तालमेल मिलाउनका लागि धेरै मेहनत गर्नुपर्ने आवश्यकता छ। यो मेहनत गर्ने कुरामा लगानी बोर्ड र सम्बद्ध सबैको ध्यान जानुपर्छ र मेरो ध्यान यता आकर्षित भएको छ। हामी लगानी प्रवाहलाई प्रवर्धन गर्न सरकारले सार्वजनिक निजी साझेदारी लगानी ऐन, वैदेशिक लगानी तथा प्रविधि हस्तान्तरण ऐन, औद्योगिक उद्यम ऐन जस्ता लगानी मैत्री नीति तथा कानुनहरू निर्माण गरेको छ। अब मात्र त्यसको कार्यान्वयनमा सरलता र हाम्रो छिटोपनको आवश्यकता छ। लगानी पैसा मात्र होइन, त्योभन्दा महत्त्वपूर्ण लगानी समय हो। समयको लगानी हामी कसरी गर्छौँ, महत्त्वपूर्ण कुरा यहाँनिर छ। समयको लगानीलाई ठिक ढङ्गले गऱ्यौँ भने अनि पुँजी लगानीले पनि भने जस्तो प्रतिफल दिने हो। त्यसकारणले समयको लगानीलाई पनि सँगसँगै जोड्नुपर्छ भन्ने कुरा मलाई लागिरहेको छ। हामीले पीपीपी मोडेल भनेका छौँ। 3P जो भन्छ म 4P भन्न चाहन्छु। लगानीलाई सहजीकरण गर्नका लागि पिपुललाई पनि जोड्नुपर्छ। पब्लिक प्राइभेट र पार्टनरसिप हामीले भनेका छौँ। पब्लिक प्राइभेट पिपुल पार्टनरसिप, स्थानीय तहको जनतालाई सम्बन्धित आयोजना निर्माण हुने स्तरको जनतालाई हामीले जोड्दाखेरि अझ सरल र ढङ्गले हामीले योजनालाई पुरा गर्न सक्छौँ भन्ने अनुभवहरूले बताएका छन्। यो कुरा पनि हामीले ध्यान दिनेछौँ। मुख्य कुरा आज हामीले हाम्रो लगानीको उद्देश्य हो हाम्रो देशको गरिबीको अन्त्य गर्ने, व्यापार घाटाको अन्त्य गर्ने र देशलाई एउटा समृद्ध एउटा स्तरमा पुर्याउने र यसका लागि हामीसँग त्यति धेरै समय छैन। हामीले छोटो समयमा हाम्रो विकल्प भनेको लगानी भित्र्याउने हो। हामी आफै मात्रै पूर्वाधार र पुँजी निर्माणमा लगानी आफ्नो पुँजी मात्रै गरेर त्यो धेरै ढिला हुन्छ। त्यसकारणले हामी वैदेशिक लगानी एफडीआईलाई हामी भित्राउन चाहन्छौँ र देशभित्रको प्राइभेट सेक्टरलाई पनि उत्साहका साथ यो क्षेत्रमा लगानी गर्नका लागि हामी अनुरोध गरिरहेका छौँ र उहाँहरू लागि पनि राख्नु भएको छ। सरकार, हाम्रो आफ्नो निजी क्षेत्र र वैदेशिक लगानीको एउटा राम्रो सम्बन्ध, विश्वास, आपसी विश्वासका आधारमा मात्रै हामी परिणाम हासिल गर्न सक्छौँ भन्ने मलाई लागिरहेको छ। लगानी बोर्डले यसको समग्र अगुवाई गरेको छ, नेतृत्व गरेको छ र सबै साझेदारहरूसँग, लगानीकर्ताहरूसँग, लगानीकर्ताले यो वातावरण बनाउने काम गरिरहेको छ। त्यसलाई अझ सरल, सुलभ बनाउने, स्वागत गर्ने लगानीकर्ताहरूलाई झन्झेटको कुरा होइन। लगानी गर्न आउनेहरूलाई योजना हातमै दिने, अलि पल्तिरै गएर दिने, त्यहीँ गएर दिन सक्नुपर्छ। हामीले त्यसलाई समय धेरै लिएर योजना दिँदाखेरि त्यसका लगानी दोब्बर चौबर हुने गरेको छ। त्यसकारणले हामीले समयमै लगानीकर्ताहरूलाई हाम्रा परियोजनाहरू दिन सक्नुपर्छ। त्यो खालको तयारी हाम्रो हुनुपर्छ। मलाई विश्वास छ लगानी बोर्डको सिओ र नेतृत्वलाई पङ्क्तिले यसलाई गम्भीरतापूर्वक लिनेछ र हामी त्यो तयारीमा रहनेछौँ। हामी यति बेला म अन्तमा के भन्न चाहन्छु भने नेपालमा उपलब्ध अहिलेको जो स्रोत छ, हामीसित पर्याप्त जो स्रोत छ र हाम्रो श्रम, युवा बहुल जनशक्ति, जनसङ्ख्या जो छ यति बेला, त्यो पनि हाम्रो पुँजी हो, मुख्य पुँजी यो हो। र सँगसँगै एउटा हाम्रो प्राकृतिक सुन्दरता, अलौकिक खालका प्राकृतिक सुन्दरताहरू जो छन् यसलाई मुख्य पुँजीको रूपमा लिनुपर्छ। यो पुँजीलाई गतिशील बनाउनको लागि, यसलाई प्रभावकारी बनाउनको लागि, यसलाई परिणाममुखी बनाउनको लागि यसबाट बढीभन्दा बढी लाभ लिएर जनतालाई सामाजिक न्याय र समृद्धि दिलाउनका लागि, यसको परिचालनको लागि हामीलाई विदेशी लगानीको पनि आवश्यकता छ। त्यस अर्थमा हामीले ध्यान दिनेछौँ। म सरकारको एउटा अर्थमन्त्रीको हैसियतले यस क्षेत्रमा रहेका कमी कमजोरलाई सच्याएर अझ सरल रूपमा लगानीकर्ताहरूलाई लगानी गर्ने वातावरण बनाउने र नेपालका विभिन्न स्रोतहरू, विभिन्न क्षेत्रहरूमा लगानी गर्न उत्साहका साथ नेपालमा लगानीकर्ताहरू आउने वातावरण बनाउने प्रतिबद्धता व्यक्त गर्दै फेरि पनि म लगानी बोर्डका सिइओ साहब लगायत सबैलाई हार्दिक बधाई ज्ञापन गर्दै बिदा हुन्छु। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Honourable Minister, for your very valid remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honourable Minister, while extending his greetings on IBN's milestone, said that the next 10 years for IBN and the entire country is going to be more crucial, while adding that creating an ambience for FDIs is going to be pivotal, and that is where the Honourable Minister says the focus should be. Regarding PPP, the Honourable Minister said the groundworks or the policies have already been drafted. Success lies in their adequate implementation, simplification of procedures, and adding momentum to the efforts, ventures, and processes. Also, he suggested adding another PPP to the PPP, that's the people quotient as well. And the Honourable Minister, all in all, extended his commitment to pay utmost attention to these domains and do the level best. Thank you one more time, the Honourable Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, we now move ahead and requesting you all to kindly join me in placing our humble request to the Chief Guest, the Right Honourable Prime Minister, Mr. Sher Bahadur Deuba, to address the forum.
Members of Investment Board Nepal, dignitaries, distinguished guests, valued investors, staff members, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. We are gathered here today to mark the 10th year of the establishment of the Investment Board of Nepal. In these years, the board has made important contribution to the economic development of Nepal by streamlining the investments of transformative projects. Besides facilitating investment in multiple sectors, the board has also contributed to reform in the regulatory framework through proactive policy advocacy. It plays an active role in identifying bottlenecks for foreign direct investment by coordinating with and between government agencies and private sectors to introduce appropriate policy instruments to address such concern. IBM's first decade has coincided with Nepal's political transformation. Nepal as a nation has made significant progress with the adoption of new constitution in 2015, followed by election of all three levels of government, cementing our transition from unitary state to federal one. Almost all parties in mainstream politics now believe that growth is possible only through partnership between and development of public-private cooperative sectors. With politics firmly settled, now we focus our attention towards economic growth and prosperity. To accelerate economic growth, we realize the need for private sector investment in national priority projects. The design and execution of large infrastructure projects set the standard for Nepal's public-private partnership initiative. The government of Nepal is committed to help enable these collaboration in an easy and functional manner, and I believe the IBM has a crucial role here. The IBM is the apex body in the country overseeing attracting, managing large infrastructure projects and is the nodal agency to manage public-private partnership. There is crucial link between government and private sector. Nepal has set targets for graduating from status of a least developed countries to a developing country by 2023-24 and become middle income country by 2030. Nepal also aims to fulfill sustainable development goal by 2030. These are all attainable. In order to meet these targets, significant investment is required. It is noteworthy that we have an annual fiscal gap of nearly $6 billion US dollar to meet the sustainable development goal by 2030 alone. IBM has also played an important role here in mobilizing the private sector investment, including FDI, in fulfilling this fiscal gap. COVID-19 pandemic has led the nations leaning towards investments towards inward investment. Therefore, attracting investment will likely become more challenging task. In spite of all this, we are optimistic and committed to attracting more investment through several key reforms in the existing policy framework and regulatory process. Further, we are working towards devising a favorable incentive structure and genuine investors. Ladies and gentlemen, in per capita income, the aggregate demand of goods and services are also increased. I believe that this increase in demand incentivizes investment in those goods and services. I am happy, in a happy matter, that the industries associated with clean energy, mines, minerals, tourism and agriculture, among others, continue to show promises. It had added enthusiasm in the continued industrialization of these industries. I am sure that IBN can prove itself as a catalyst for these positive development. Lastly, let me conclude by extending sincere appreciation to every one of you who have been part of this institution, since its inception. With this organization, many more decades of service in the economic development of Nepal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Right Honorable Prime Minister. Thank you for your best wishes, for your gracious presence, and of course for your very, very valued words. Ladies and gentlemen, towards the end now, I request the CEO of the Investment Board of Nepal, Mr. Sushil Bhatta, while inviting him to the podium, I request him for his remarks.
Investment Board Nepal has achieved much in the last 10 years. However, there is still a lot left to be done to realize Nepal's national aspirations. As charted out on its first ever structured strategic plan, IBN has set 5 major goals to transform itself into a fast-track agency to promote and facilitate large infrastructure projects and manage PPP within 2026. Standing intact on its 4 major pillars while keeping eyes set on the future, IBN is now evolving into a smart institution. Retaining its defined core values, IBN has internalized the culture of working together for winning together. The ideas for infrastructure projects have been developed to create a repository of bankable, credible, sustainable and ready-to-go project pipeline. The process and outcome of this project bank will now be accessible to investors and stakeholders through an interactive portal. IBN will also deliver any facilitation service required from other government agencies through its highly demanded and much promised web-based portal. The knowledge produced during this will be stored digitally as a robust institutional.
जीवन बीमा गरौं, निश्चिन्त बनौं, अधिकतम